welcome back to the Transparent Parenting Podcast. But I've been doing a lot of practice. Like, see how that I didn't shama, I didn't trip on my own words. I'm gonna do it again. The Transparent Parenting Podcast. Yeah, usually I trip on those words. Welcome, and thank you so much for joining us again. Today, I have one of a really good friend of mine, an old friend, not old in the way of age, but old as in I've known her a really long time, and I'm so excited to have her here with me. Irene Hay, you and I went to uni together. Well, actually, we didn't go to uni together.
No, we didn't go together.
We met in church, and I will let her introduce herself, but I actually knew Irene's husband, Ben, before I knew Irene. We all were going to the same church at the same time. This is in Melbourne, Australia. Was I in uni at the time? I don't think I was. I think I was done with uni. It was more, I was just doing life. I was working and living there. And so I met Ben through volunteering with the church. I think we were doing kids volunteering. And then I'm trying to remember the first time I met you. Did I meet you through Ben or did I meet you through... Do you remember?
I don't know. I think we just met in church.
We met in church group. Or did I meet you through Koi? Or did I meet you through...
So.
Okay, like this is...
I think we had a connect group.
There was a prayer group.
Yeah.
There was a prayer group and that's how we met. So Irene and I go way back. This is why you're seeing us both scratching our heads trying to figure out, because this goes like beyond like more than a decade. Yeah, almost 2 decades. Yee! That's just giving away how old we are. But I am so glad to have you on here. I'm so excited about the topic that we're going to be discussing. But before I go on too much, I'm going to allow you to introduce yourself. And I hate, the question I'm about to ask you, I absolutely hate being asked, especially during job interviews. I don't know how you're going to take it, but tell me about Irene.
Oh, gosh. Yes. Okay. My name is Irene.
Yeah.
Hay, married to Hay, the man that you knew before me.
Yes.
That's such a funny story. I'll tell you something that
tell.
Reminded me. Something I remembered.
Please share. If it's something you can share, please share.
So anyway, you remember I was more in Western Australia, so I had just come to.
Oh yeah, you were in
Melbourne.
Perth before you came to Melbourne. Yeah.
Yeah. So you African chicks knew Ben, and
yeah.
And at one time he was passing by, and you were like, oh. I'll never forget this. I don't think I talked to you about this before.
I said something.
You said, oh, that's Ben. He's a missionary who goes to Africa a lot. Oh, I don't know, whatever you guys started talking about it. And I remember thinking, I want to know that man.
Get out. Really?
For real.
Okay, so in some ways, I want to say, I am responsible for having introduced you to your husband, even though he was in passing.
There was just an attraction I had. I don't know where from.
What?
But I kept wondering, do you know him? Is there anything? Are you dating him? I
Does
never
he know
knew
this?
anything. Yes, he knows, but I've never told you.
Wait. So I said something along the lines of, because that's what he was doing at the time.
We
were both actively involved in. We were doing mission work here.
Yes.
We were doing a lot of stuff with Mama Safi.
Yeah.
So then I knew that he was doing independent things in Uganda.
And he had just come from Kenya.
Yeah.
And you told me, oh, he loves mission work. He likes, and you guys didn't know me so well. You knew him. You were talking amongst each other. So when I saw him, I was like, who's that guy? He just sounds, I don't know, just something attracted me to him. Just the things I could hear you guys talking about.
Yeah.
But again,
Okay, so Ben, you owe me for advertising you to your potential wife at the time. So beyond obviously being married to Ben, you and Ben are living here in Kenya. Ben is Australian. You guys live here now. Could you tell us just a little bit about what you guys do? And obviously your 3 gorgeous, beautiful, adorable girls, which I'll let you talk about in a bit.
Yeah. So I'm a mom of 3 girls.
Yeah.
10-year-old, 8 years old, and 6 years old.
Wow.
So 2 years apart.
Yeah.
And Ben and I, we have a charity that we started together here.
Yeah.
And we work with former street kids. We educate them, mentor them, do Bible, informal Bible studies, and
What is the age group that you work with? The
mostly
kids
teenagers. Okay, we get as young as 7-year-old to 18 years old. Yeah.
How do you get these kids? Because I remember when you guys first started, from what I recall, and this is going way back, because you guys have been around, Children's Fortress is the name of the charity. How long have you guys been around?
We've had the charity for the last 11 years.
11 years, yeah. So going, like, I remember first early days, I remember Ben actually literally just used to go into the streets.
Yeah, he used to go into the streets and get kids himself.
And rescue kids himself.
Amazing.
On his own with no Swahili.
Yes.
Bare basic Swahili. How is his Swahili doing?
It's better.
By
Not
the way.
the best. He said, I don't teach him enough.
Is that still the strategy? Do you guys literally just go into the street and find street kids, or how does it work?
A long story. So yeah, he kind of used to do that a lot more than I did. But when we got married and moved here, he just wanted to know about Kenya and see how he could do. And then we knew we wanted to work with kids.
Yeah, we
knew. Long story, because I had a job by then, so he had to do it full time. So I going to the streets on his own. He had a friend who was doing it, but then he joined what do you call it? A charity, another one that was working with street kids.
Yeah.
Tumaini.
Yeah.
And then they are the ones now who introduced him to the places to go and get the street kids. They introduced him to just ways to move around Kenya and how to, speak to these kids and, all this kind of stuff. And that's how he got his calling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what I want to do.
Yes. Yeah. Because initially we thought we were going to come to Kenya and start a charity. I mean, start an orphanage.
Yeah. Because he'd been working with orphanages for a really long time by this time.
Yeah. And we thought that, and I was for it. I mean, even before I met Ben, I knew I wanted to do work with street kids, doing a mission work. Yeah. So I knew even myself that maybe we're going to start a charity, orphanage. But when we came here, it just changed. We knew we didn't know what to start that. I mean, that's kids are best at home.
Yeah.
That was so implanted in us. Yeah. And anyway, so we started partnering with government centers like Shauri Moyo, Makadara, Kayole.
Yeah.
And then that's how we've been working since then.
For 11 years, and you're still going strong.
Yeah.
My gosh. So in addition to having your 3 girls, being a wife, and then obviously helping Ben run this charity, you are also homeschooling. And that's actually our topic today. And I'm fascinated because you and I, how this conversation came about is I was just casually, now being a new parent, casually mentioning to you that, I've been looking at the education system and, even before I ever had kids, when I first got married, I knew that I wanted to look at homeschooling for so many different reasons. And I know we're going to get into that. But in addition to everything that you do, wife, mommy, running this amazing charity with your husband, you are also a homeschooler. And so many questions I want to ask you, but you are balancing it all somehow. And we're going to get into how you're doing it. But for those who don't know, or those who think they know and probably don't have all the information that they need, what is homeschooling? As basic of a definition as you can give us. We're not looking for, by the disclaimer, because Irene has been saying the whole time we were driving here, she kept saying, Bella, I'm not an expert on homeschooling. I don't know why you can't call in an expert. I'm like, who really is an expert on homeschooling, Irene? So just as basic as you can, what is homeschooling?
Doing school at home.
Okay.
That's as simple as it can be.
And you're currently the head teacher, the teacher, the principal, the PE teacher. What does that look like? Like for you, I mean, even just your journey into homeschooling, why was that an option for you? I mean, the easier thing, especially running a charity, because I imagine there's running the actual charity. And if you guys from day one were doing what you're saying Ben was doing, working with government agencies, having to be out there, going in, talking to these street kids, trying to get them into your program, like that's very involving. The logical next step when you have a child and then, they get to school-going age is to go, Mommy's busy, Daddy's busy. We're going to send you off to school so that we can carry on with, the Lord's work.
Yeah.
So how did this come about? How was it even an option for you? How did you get into homeschooling?
Oh, well, it's a bit complicated because when we did come back to Kenya, I had to get a full-time job. Yeah, full-time. I was in the corporate world for a long time.
Yeah.
And because I was supporting my husband. Again, he comes here as a missionary and you're not supposed to work here as a missionary.
Okay, so when you're a missionary, you technically don't have a work permit.
Yes, you can't earn here.
Yeah.
So you can't even open a bank account here. So
what? Wait, so as a missionary, how do you, if you can't open a bank account, how are you supposed to
You have your bank
do
account
stuff?
in Australia,
Wherever country you're
Yeah,
from.
yeah, but you can't open here.
Okay, good to know because
Yeah.
okay.
So that's another thing that people did not know because anyway. So I had to get a job to
Being the
support
Kenyan,
us. To support us, and which was such a just so God ordained because I did get a job like 2 weeks after I had just landed back in Kenya, which was my biggest fear. You know,
Wait a minute, how long had you been away?
about almost 5 years.
Wow, so that is a blessing.
Yeah.
Was that via connections or did someone just refer you and say there's a job here, go interview for it? And
so when I came back, my family did a what do you call it? A welcome back home party.
Yeah.
So one of my cousins who I hadn't seen for years was like, "Oh, what are you doing? What are you coming here to do? What are you studying?" And he told me, and then I was like, I'm a graphic designer by profession. And he's like, "Oh, really? We're starting an advertising agency. I'm doing a startup with an advertising agency." And there it is. I got the job straight away. I hadn't even unpacked my things.
Like that was, okay, yeah,
And
that
it was
a
an
God thing.
international advertising agency. So they really needed to start hiring people straight away. So
Yeah.
I was the first designer they hired in that company. And I ended up working there for five years, 5.5 years.
Yeah. So you're working, supporting Ben
Exactly,
while he's doing what he needs to do.
Yeah.
So initially you were not as involved in the charity.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So he was doing it full time, and I was just now helping out over the weekends where I could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then you start having babies.
So I started having babies. We started having babies straight away. I was very African. I wanted a child during my honeymoon.
Yeah.
I wanted to conceive during my honeymoon. Didn't happen that way, but yeah, we did get a child straight away.
Yeah.
And Grace, she went to school. I mean, I took her to kindergarten. Oh no, I'll go back. So I've had this child, and I'm enjoying spending time with her. I'm loving it. Straight
You're
away.
on maternity leave, obviously, from the job, and okay.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And the first I've gone for maternity. I've come back pregnant with my second-born child.
Yeah.
And during this time now, my Grace is a bit older, and now we're doing work together. We'll do some artwork together. We'll do some craft together.
You're keeping her busy.
I'm keeping her busy.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying this time that I'm having with her.
Yeah.
But and then what happens?
So because you mentioned that your girls have a 2-year age gap.
Mm-hmm.
So you're expecting
My
your second
born,
child.
Yeah.
Gracie at this point is what, almost 2 or?
Gracie is almost 2.
Maybe 1 and
2-ish
something.
there.
Yeah,
2-ish. Yeah. So I'm enjoying coming back home to her and maybe 1.5-ish.
So you've gone back to work. I've left her at home with a nanny.
Yes,
yes.
Okay. And that's why it starts getting uncomfortable with me because now I've gone back to work and I'm noticing I'm not spending much time with her. The nanny is spending more time with her. So already that was bothering me. But I was living very close to my house. So I would walk home at lunchtime. It was so close. I would
Just
walk home
to
at
check
lunch
on
and
the
check
kid,
on her to spend time with her
Yeah.
and then go back. And then our next door neighbor was a child who was exactly the same age with my firstborn. So like they were born like 2 months apart. So they were best friends and everything.
Yeah.
So I remember when she was about 3 years old, I think I'd just given birth
To your
to the second one.
Yeah.
Then my next door neighbor, the mom to the girl she's friends with, she starts telling me, so have you been looking for a school? She told me, I found a school for my daughter. Have you found a school for your daughter? And I'll never forget, that was the most painful question I've ever been asked because I was like, oh my God, we have to find schools for our children. She was only 3.
You have to let her
I mean,
go.
it's already hurting me that I have to
Go to work.
And she's spending most of the time with the nanny and I'm only meeting her during lunchtime for 1 hour and then coming back. And again, my work, let me not mention this. I was working in an advertising agency and leaving at 7 o'clock was a big problem.
7 p.m.?
7 p.m.
Like leaving the office at 7 p.m., that's not enough.
Yes. Before I got married, I used to leave at 10. So when I got married, I told my boss, I have to leave at 7. I'm pregnant.
Wait, so what time were you starting work?
8.
And leaving at 7 was a problem?
Yeah.
You had to ask for special permission?
Yeah, I had to be like, I can't take any more work. We'll do a lot of work.
That is full on. My gosh.
So, and all this time I'm pregnant when I'm living at this time.
Are you breastfeeding? Are you like, how is all that working? Are you having to pump?
Oh my goodness. That was so hard. I was breastfeeding.
Yeah.
So I would come at lunchtime and breastfeed her.
Yeah.
But during those times, from lunchtime till 7 o'clock, whatever time, I would have to pump. It's so hard. And and another thing I want to mention is I was in a department of men only, single men. I was the only
nobody got it.
woman
Nobody
in
understood.
8 designers or something.
Yeah.
So no one understood when I was going upstairs in the attic to pump.
Wait, so you had to carve a space out for yourself. There was no designated, like, you can go sit there, be comfortable. No. Not a modern workplace.
No. It's either the toilet or up there in the attic where it's that. Oh my goodness.
Ole.
This is things men don't understand. It was hard. And I carved too because
not male bashing. I think it's just sometimes there's just things that you would have to be or have gone through it to be able to understand and go. Because I'm thinking about, in comparison, when I worked at Optus, we had a special room. I mean, I think they'd thought of everything. And this was a big corporation. They thought of everything. So, they had a prayer room, and that prayer room was used by Christians or Muslims. Say, for example, there was Ramadan or whenever anybody wanted to go in there and say their prayers, they could. Then right next to that room, they also had a nursing room. And I remember the men used to ask me, what's a nursing room? Does that mean is that where you go see the nurse? Like, I'm like, no, a nursing room. And they had a little mini fridge. That was so thoughtful. It was a little mini fridge. They had an armchair right next to some wall sockets on the wall. And it was obvious what it was for is that, you would go in there, you sit down, you pump. And then, obviously whatever you collect, you don't want to be sitting at your desk with milk that could go bad. I think it's usually, 2 hours if it's not refrigerated. But they had a little mini fridge there and you could put your milk. So I'm listening to you and I'm like, okay, obviously this is not a workplace that had thought that far. And then, you're also giving a
woman, so that doesn't even help.
You're the only woman, and then you're working with single men. So they have no exposure to, hey, we need to cater for these different types of people that are going to be working with us. So, because for me, when I see a workplace say that they are, there's inclusivity and all of that, I'm like, I think it needs to go beyond sexuality. It needs to go into, okay, have you considered that there are going to be people that, maybe have a disability or people that need to nurse, people that maybe need to stop and have their prayers 5 times a day or, all of that. Anyway, go on.
Yeah. So that was my dilemma. I had to start nursing.
Yeah.
I mean, so where did I leave it off? Okay, so
she asks you about, have you chosen a school? You're feeling really pained by this question.
Yes, I'm like, oh my goodness, now this means I have to be looking for a school. And I was shocked. I was like, oh, is this the time you start looking for schools?
It hadn't even entered your mind.
Yeah, because I'm thinking, I love spending time with my child. I love what I'm teaching, what I'm impacting in her. I love the time we're spending together. Now, she'll be spending most of the time in school. And then, because I knew I'm coming home at 7 and I know she sleeps at 8. So anyway, and that's exactly what happened. I did get at school because of the pressure. Yeah. And my this neighbor of mine was their family were very, what do you call it? very academic driven. Yeah. So they would choose, anyway. So, so it was, I could tell they found that the children need to be school as early as possible. So that pressure of, oh my goodness, okay. And then I started looking for a school and I did find a school.
Yeah.
And I mean, what shocked me, first of all, looking for the school is how expensive the schools were. I was like, my child is only 4 years old. I have to pay 100 and what?
This is per term.
Yes.
This is 10 years ago.
Yes.
And are you looking, at this point, does it matter to you what system it is? Is it a Kenyan system? Is it an international school? What are you thinking? What are your thoughts? You're so under pressure. What are you?
Yes. I think at that time I was just looking for a school near my house because I knew I was the one who had to drive back at lunchtime and pick up my child from school.
Because Ben is so far removed from home at this time.
Yeah, he's
not even an option.
Yes. So I knew I would be the one who have to pick her up from school, drop her at home and rush back to work within a period of an hour. So she could be somewhere so far and she could be somewhere where there's traffic or anything.
And you already have your second baby. So now your lunchtime is not being spent with baby number 2. Your lunchtime would be spent doing a mommy pickup, mommy drop off.
Exactly. And that is exactly what happened. I found a school nearby. I found the closest school. And I was living, where I was living, there was many international schools. So it had to be one of them. They were the closest. Otherwise, I would have to drive, 5 kilometers. No, it just had to be somewhere near. So we found this school. And we told them, we are a missionary family. Can you No, I'm forgetting. I need to remember. She went to the first school, which was a lovely school. I mean, it had been there 39 years. So I knew this is a well-established school.
Yeah.
And I love the way they teach. I mean, the way they play areas that they have. She was only 3 years old. There was not much teaching going on, but just the activities they did in the school, the playground was so lovely. And the school had been there 39 years. So I'm like, okay, it's good. It's there since I remember. I mean, when I saw the school, I was like, that school was there when I was growing up.
Yeah.
So, and anyway, my daughter joined that school and she loved it.
Yeah.
Again, it was hard for me to pick her up. I struggled with that, but I did do that for a while. And then what happened is within like a few months, the school shut down. A few months.
What was the problem? Like a school that had been around 39 years suddenly shuts down
within a very few months.
No
I think it wasn't
way.
even 6 months yet.
Did they tell you why? Did they?
The lady retired. She was an old lady.
Oh,
a
the
very
lady
old
that
lady.
ran
She
the
was like
school.
almost in her
Yeah.
80s.
Yeah.
So she retired and I don't think she wanted to go on. I don't know. She just shut it down.
Yeah.
And that was such a blow. Oh, it was, yeah. So I'm thinking to myself, that was the only school that I had seen around that was affordable. So
Yeah.
I knew in my head, because I had looked around many schools, I knew any other school we can't afford. I mean, I don't know, it's going to be a struggle.
Because, I mean, remember that you're supporting Ben. You are running the household. I mean, supporting you in that
we
sense.
have
You're running the
only one
household,
income.
and then now you're having to think about
Yes.
paying school fees.
Yeah. The charity was, anyway, it was starting up, and starting up a charity takes a lot of money. So in fact, a lot of the income that I was having was going into the charity.
Permits and getting different licenses. And yeah.
So, so we started looking for another school. And this time I was like, oh my goodness, we need prayers because the schools are so expensive.
Yeah.
And we did find another school that's close by. Again, finding a close by school was hard. So we did find another one.
It has to be close by. It has to be affordable. And
it has to be at least what I like. It has to be not... Anyway, I was strict about few things.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I like this other one. It wasn't as good as the first one at all. It wasn't any deep, but it was the one that came closest. And it was very expensive. So we asked them, okay, we're a missionary family. Is there a way you can subsidize, give us a discount? And they actually agreed. And they gave us like almost...
You have not because you asked not. I love that it even entered your mind to ask.
And my husband is the one who suggested. I'm like,
we should
they
ask
don't
them.
do that. Do they do that? This school has never even... I think we were the first ones to ever ask for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they actually agreed. They agreed.
Was it a considerable subsidy or?
It was.
Okay.
It was. But
we're not advocating that you go and tell people you're missionaries if you're not missionaries, because I'm sure you guys had to prove. You had to prove that. Okay, cool.
So, and they agreed. So she started going there. And she was there for, I don't know if it was a year. Okay, she started at three and a half, I think. And she was there till maybe an year, 4.5.
And how is she developing at this time? She's happy? She's okay?
So that's why the changes started coming in.
Oh, no.
So here I am. I'm so used to doing activities with her. And now she's coming home and she's being a bit reserved. She's not telling me what's going on.
Oh.
It's almost like
Becoming
she had
withdrawn.
a light. And that light was kind of dimming. I don't know. And I couldn't understand whether is she tired or is she discouraged or what went on. And I think a child that age, they can't put words
around what they're feeling.
Yes. They can't understand that I was being bullied. I don't know. It's like they don't know how to...
Yeah. Was she being bullied?
No, she wasn't being bullied. I think it was just too much pressure for her, having so many... I don't know. But I'll come to that later. I think I got to understand better as she grew older. Anyway, so...
You're noticing the changes.
I'm noticing the changes and I'm not liking it. Because I would love to see, everybody loves to see a child full of joy, coming home excited and everything. And yes, she was having those days, but there are times, you're putting her in the back of the seat and you're seeing she's just there, not saying anything. And I'm like, oh, I don't know why I'm not liking this. And again, I have to quickly drop her and go back to work.
So you don't have time to investigate.
Yeah, I don't have time to sit down and get everything.
Get her back up like, hey, come on,
Yeah, and remembering I'm coming back at 7 o'clock and then putting... we have like another 1 hour before she sleeps at 8 o'clock.
She's tired, you're tired.
So it's like I'm already feeling disconnected. I'm already seeing something is changing in her.
Yeah.
And I'm not connecting. So it's like the connection was being drifted away slowly by slowly. I was getting, it was so disheartening. And so, anyway, and here I am pregnant with this other child. Again, you're going through the pregnancy, mood swings and everything. So things were happening so quickly. And then So what happened is, okay, I gave birth to my second child, and now we had to go back to Australia. This is the first time we're going back to Australia with.
So is this for a visit, or are you going back? Because I know you and Ben currently periodically go back to Australia for stretches of time. Yeah. So was this just a visit, or was this one of those times that you were going back for a stretch?
It was this time we wanted to go for a longer period. So every time when we went in the past, it was for 3 months, 4 months. So this time we were going for a longer period. We were going for 1 year. And I had to mention but that's okay. Anyway, we're going for a longer period, 1 year. I'll go back to that. So I went to the teacher. We wrote an email to the principal and said, we'll be going up for 1 year.
Yeah.
And so Gracie won't be around for a long time, and we're hoping to maybe go back to kinder or whatever.
So you're talking to the school principal now in Kenya to say, hey, we're going to be out for a period of time.
Yeah. So she emails me straight away. She calls us straight away, and she's like, could I have a meeting with you? Can I have a meeting with you and your husband?
How old is Gracie at this time?
Maybe 4.5.
4.5. Okay. Yeah.
I would say about that. Anyway, so we're like, okay, she wants a meeting with us. Okay, maybe she wants to make it formal. I don't know. It just sounded so serious.
It's a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
She's leaving for a bit. She'll be back. But come into my office. I want to talk to you.
Anyway, so we did go to her office, and she tells us that she sits us down, and she's like, and she's there with her assistant, I don't know, principal. And she's like, the tone changed, and she sounded so serious, and she's like, I was a bit concerned about you people living for 1 year. My concern, why? Well, 1 year is a bit too long for your child to be away from school. She's going to miss out in a lot of things. She's going to lag behind. She may need to repeat. She shouldn't have enough time to prepare to enter into primary school, to prepare for the exams to enter into a primary school. She may not be accepted if she fails the exams that they ask for. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, first of all...
This kid is 4.
She's 4. Our second home is Australia. My husband is Aussie. You can't, I was so shocked.
Has she asked you about whether you've made arrangements for the kid to go to school there?
Yes.
What are they, she doesn't know all that.
Yes. Yes, exactly. That's even the question I was asking. Okay, we plan on her going to school there, but even you telling me that our child is going to lag behind, she may fail in the exams to enter the others.
Wait a minute. So was this a private school?
It was a private school.
So was this an issue of, I don't know, let me just be a star, but was this an issue of this 1 year of us not having that school fees is potentially an issue for us? Not so much the 4-year-old child, because I'm like, a 4-year-old kid, come on.
I was in shock. I have to say, I left that office in shock.
What is Ben thinking at this time?
Ben is shocked.
You're like, come on.
He's a 4-year-old. And he's going back to his country.
Yeah. You don't know what arrangements we've made on the other, which is why I'm thinking, okay, was this an issue of
and
the
I'll
school
go
fees?
on and say, and she also said, the reason why we wanted to have this meeting with you is we want to ask you if you could reduce your time in Australia. Could you reduce it to at least 2 or 3 months? Because 1 year is too long for your child to be out of school.
No idea what you guys are planning to do there. Why you're going back to Australia? It's not a 1 year holiday, woman. I'm sorry, I didn't this to me just sounds like, okay, that's a potential, a lot of income to the school from this one child. And I don't know, that's what I'm being
it was such a shock. And in my mind, I was like, do you know, I'm thinking my child is getting older. Do you know how much she's going to learn by her being in a new country, in a different country?
The experiences, first of all, meeting her other side of the family, experiencing that other side of her culture.
Different culture, different landscapes. There's so much you can learn from just being in a different country, in different environments, and different people.
Than you would in a classroom.
Exactly.
Counting over and over again.
That broke my heart. I'm like, and in my mind, I'm thinking, my child, I'm going to tell her about, anything. I'm thinking of the things she's going to see and she's going to experience and the travels we're going to do. And here you are telling me she can't get out of her class. She's going to be
apparently she's going to lag behind.
And she's going to fail the exams to enter proper school. Those are the exact words she used. Yeah. And anyway, so yeah, you can imagine that was a shock. I went home that day with Ben and I was like, I don't know, but it doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah.
It doesn't sit right with me. So that's the time we left. I think we had nothing much to say. We were like, I'm sorry, but we're going for 1 year.
I mean, it has
you're
to
not
happen.
going to change our traveling arrangements.
Plans or whatever it is that you were planning to do over there.
Anyway, so we did go and we stayed for 1 year. That's when COVID hit.
So COVID hit while you were away?
Yes.
Okay.
So as soon as we went there, went back to Australia, she joined the kindergarten there. So my daughter ended up being in 3 kindergartens.
You enrolled her while she was there. So this is a plan that you already had anyway.
Yeah. So as soon as we got there, we enrolled her to the kindergarten there. So she ended up doing school, kinder for a while.
How was she there? Was it the same situation, withdrawn or?
No, she enjoyed it. She was again enjoyed, but the withdrawal wasn't there as much. What was, again, kindergarten there wasn't taking so much time. So here you put your child in school, and the child, as soon as they get into school, they're there from 8 o'clock to 3 o'clock. That's a long for a child who has never been to school.
For a toddler.
Yes. Eee. So whereas there, once a child goes into school, they warm you up. They warm a child up to school. There is, so the child was going.
Play,
No. Gracie would go to school, but she'd only go for 3 hours. Again, I'm a stay-home mom, so I had the time to go.
They're warming you up into okay, this is just getting used to the idea.
And you can choose whether you want your child to go for 2 days or 3 days. So I decided with 2 days, 3 hours every day. For the 2 days.
It's kind of like an idea, like, hey, how about this?
Yeah, she started with 2 days, and then she went to 3 days. So it's not like full on from home to
5 days a week, 6 hours a day, or 7 hours a week. Yeah.
So I had a lot of time with her. She's only there for 2 days, for 3 hours. So, we spent a lot of time there. We started doing schoolwork together. We started doing activities. I went back now. I felt like, now I can be with my child again.
Yeah.
And I started enjoying her company. We started being able to now have my 2 children. We started being able
to... Did that spark come back in her eyes?
Yes, indeed. I enjoyed it. I was loving it. And then she went to primary school. And then she was...
primary school, this is still in Australia?
Still in Australia.
Yeah.
So she went to primary school. And, that's the time I saw the light
go off again.
Yeah. Immediately. It happened. It just happened again.
Yeah.
But this time we were there for almost, this time I think it was...
Because COVID has shut you down there now.
Yeah, so but COVID hadn't hit yet. It was... Oh yeah, sorry, COVID had... I can't remember when COVID happened.
I think it was...
She had already been in school for a while before COVID happened.
Yeah, because that's probably why you were extending your time there.
Because we ended up being there 2 years again, not the 1 year that we were saying. But I can't remember how long she was in primary school. I think she had been there for like maybe 6 months or so.
So like a term or 2. Yeah,
yes.
2 terms maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope I'm getting it right. I'm so bad with
timing. It doesn't even matter the time anymore. It's all good.
Because I know she was in kinder and she was in anyway.
Yeah.
So so what happened is I started seeing the light going away again. It's like
she's withdrawing.
Yeah, she was withdrawing. Just some things weren't working. At first, she had so many friends. She was a different girl. She was a pointy, so she was having so much attention, and she liked that.
She's a new kid.
Yes, but this is the funny thing. If you have one child that's bullying you, trust me, those many other friends just...
It doesn't matter how popular you are.
Yeah.
So she started... How did you find out about the bullying?
Well, she started telling me. And at first, it was like, she started joking, like, not joking, but just telling me, oh, there's this boy called... and he's... Sorry for mentioning his name, but anyway, he's been a bit mean to me. I'm trying to, and to me, I thought it was a joke. You always get those mean kids. Not everyone will treat you well, and I thought maybe she's exaggerating. She's just getting to know that not all kids are nice and lovely to you. You always meet the ones who
you're gonna face some stuff.
Meet some that are mean, and you have to be. But I never knew how bad. It gradually got worse and worse, and I knew it started affecting her when I saw her once writing a note, and I didn't know this was bothering her. It was so touching. I saw her writing a note, and she's like, and I'm like, what are you writing? I'm just writing to Mason. What are you writing? I'm writing to him that I want us to be friends. Again, she wasn't telling me everything that was going on.
Bless her heart.
Yeah. So I think the following day she came back home, and And she had tears in her. I mean, when I went to pick her up, she had tears in her eyes. And I'm like, and this time I could tell something has gone wrong. I have to find out what's wrong.
Yeah.
And then she told me, she did not tell me that day. I think I knew it had something to do with this boy, but she did not tell me that day. But later on is when she told me that she actually couldn't give the note to the boy, but she gave it to her friend to give it to the boy. And the boy like read it and laughed and stole it and threw it away or something. And that broke her heart so much. Oh God, because she wanted.
How old is she at this point?
I think she's now, I would say.
How old was she, about 6?
She must have been 6, yeah, because that's when you entered. So, but I know she was heartbroken because she wanted to be friends with everyone, and she wants everyone to be friends with everyone. And she's wanting to make friends with this one person who's been mean to her. And I think he would pull her hair. I ended up finding out that she would pull her hair. He would run and slap her. And, just little.
The irony is he probably really liked her, but he didn't know how to express. Little boys, who knows?
It just got worse and worse. And at one point I saw his mom. You know how, those,
parent teacher.
Not the parent teacher, sorry, where the kids are being picked up home time when, and I saw the mom once and I went to the mom and I tried to say, hey, I just wanted to know if your son could be friends with my daughter, because I know she just wanted to be friends with her. And so that, he stopped treating her bad. So she really was trying to be nice to him. So that he stopped treating her bad. And she wasn't getting that in return. He just wanted to be, I don't know. So I kind of tried talking to the mom so I can see if they can have a play date where they can,
Did the mom get it?
No, she didn't get it. Yeah. So I just let go of that.
Yeah.
But anyway, then COVID hit. So when COVID hit, again, I knew my daughter was having not only this boy, but there was something else that was bothering her. I couldn't pick it up what it was. Because every time when she came home and she wasn't so happy, I would be like, is it the boy again? And she's like, no. Okay, what is it? I knew he had an issue, but she didn't even tell me. He wasn't even in school today. But I'm wondering, but then why are you so low? Why are you so low? What's going on? And she wouldn't tell me, really. Anyway, so COVID hit. And oh my goodness, COVID was an eye-opener.
Yeah.
And we started doing school online. So now it was what do you call this?
In virtual learning.
Virtual learning. So you could see the teacher, you could see the students, and the teacher started. Anyway, and so they would do all the classes online. You'd get the tablet. I mean, every child was given a tablet. Plus, you would do it online. But now, as parents, we're exposed to what happens in a proper classroom. And before then, there's so many little bits in here. There are times where they would allow parents to come into the classes and
the virtual classes,
leave alone the virtual class. Before COVID hit, they would allow us to come to the classes and just sit down and be with the children and watch how the teachers are taught, how the kids are being taught.
All at the same time. There'd be like an invitation.
Yeah, an invitation for parents to come. So already at that time, I started noticing my child is not. I don't know. I started saying there are things she's not getting, or she's not enjoying, or she's not being motivated. And she's almost like discouraged. I noticed it straight away in the first class I went, and I'm thinking, she doesn't seem to enjoy this. It's like the method of teaching wasn't right for her. I couldn't pick her up. Why is she not enjoying it? It's like other kids are doing.
Can you give an example of some of the stuff that you noticed she didn't like? Was it particular topics? Or?
I think she didn't. One thing I noticed is she didn't like being told, you have to do this within the next 10 minutes. She did not
so the
like
pressure of time to come up with something.
Yeah. She never liked pressure. I don't know what it is. She just doesn't like being given a timeline of you have to finish in the next 10 minutes. So everyone's
learning style is different. Some people enjoy that kind of pressure, and then there's some that are like, I can't.
Exactly.
Can't do
so the minute the kids were told to do that, her should be like, I will not do it. I'm like, do it. All the other kids are doing. I'm like, we're trailing her here. Let's do it together. Oh my gosh, she did not like it. So that's the thing I noticed, that, okay, my daughter is a bit different when it comes to being given timings. Okay, her learning style is different. So COVID hit. Going back to the COVID part, it hit, and I noticed. Now this time, this I was exposed to one classroom. Now I'm being exposed.
The virtual.
I was exposed to the one-on-one classroom. Now COVID hit. Now I started seeing the virtual, and this time they're doing all the other subjects, math, language arts, whatever. So now I'm noticing a lot of other things that I had never picked up on. No wonder. She was never happy. She was not enjoying class. She didn't. First of all, she did not like the timing, the pressure, And she just did not like it when one child is giving, there was, how do I put it? I noticed the class systems work differently. I think I was exposed to how the syllabus works. The teachers have to follow a certain syllabus, and certain subjects have to be done within a certain period of time. And the next term comes, this has to be done from this has to be done this week, this has to be done this week, it has to
So there's the pressure for them to actually finish what is contained
exactly.
in the syllabus.
By the end of the term, all this has to be covered.
Yeah.
So here is my daughter. I'm seeing her struggling in this area. I mean, she's really good in this area and she's thriving, but I'm seeing her struggling in one area. But the part where she struggles, it brings her down so bad. And I remember
and it's interesting because then how does a teacher, when it's a virtual learning situation, how does a teacher pick up on those nuances? Like, this kid is struggling with this. Was that obvious?
It was not obvious. I mean, you see, the thing is, when kids are behind the screen, I mean, it's a smart child.
Yeah.
The gifted child. There was now one gifted, very extremely.
Probably the talkative child.
But there are those kids who are like gifted.
Yeah.
Like the ones who start reading novels at 6 years old. They're reading everything. They start playing instruments by 5 years old. They're just gifted. So she had one of those gifted children in her class. And like, this child was gifted, like super gifted. And that child is the one who
got most of the attention. I mean, if everyone else is not answering any questions, she's the one who is answering. And in my mind, I started remembering, Gracie would tell me that there was this child who just answers all the questions. Now it hit me. Yes, that's
the child. That's a kid.
Yeah.
And so when everyone is not answering questions, when the teacher asks a question, the gifted child just puts up their hand and they're like, yes. And what bothered me is my daughter would not get it. She's like, oh. And the teacher moves on to the next class. And it's like, the teacher believes now that everybody has gotten, let's move on to the next.
Based off of
concept.
Typically, how many kids would be in a virtual situation, like in the actual?
About 12, maybe 13.
So the one kid gets it, represents the rest of the kids, moving along swiftly. And to be fair, the teacher is probably under the pressure of, we need to get through the content. So I don't have time to gauge whether everyone else has gotten it.
Yeah.
Gosh, okay.
And I'm not sure if all the parents were there seated with their children, but I think I was there because I was keen to know what exactly goes on in this class. Because I want to know what's going on with my child. Why is she coming back home, looking the way she's looking? So so that was the eye opener. It was such a great eye opener. And I'm like, my child, I remember I spent so much time with my child before she ever went to school. I knew she loved school. Yeah. She loved learning. I would teach her little things that she would love. She's so creative and and here she is. She's her class is passing by and she's like, oh, another class. Oh, do we have to do that? Yes, we have to do. If a child is that young, 6 years old, and you're feeling like you're having to force them to enter into a classroom and you have not to be, that I'm like, if it's starting this early, I mean, already I was feeling, no, my child has to enjoy school. You have many more years to come. You have to enjoy it. It has to be something you're enjoying.
Because if this early on, I mean, now by this point she's 6 years old. Yes. If this early on she's like, yeah. And I'm thinking back because you're talking about all this and I'm like, I wonder whether, because I don't remember, I'm not saying my parents did a horrible job, but I remember probably even before 6 years old, I would have been in what we call, is it pre-unit? Yeah. Is that what we used to call it? There was nursery school and there was pre-unit. So I probably would have been in pre-unit when I first just remember thinking, I'm no good. And you can imagine pre-unit, like what, you're like 3 or 3, 4. But I do remember having that sense of I'm not as good as, and I don't get this. And so there was no action to try. Yes. It was just like
you feel demotivated.
Demotivated. They're just better than me. And I remember thinking, actually now I do remember the teacher, and I'm not going to say her name, not because of anything. I just don't want to discredit her, not that anyone would remember, but when I've spoken to family members, my brothers and other cousins that went to the same school, they all said, we remember that teacher. Oh, wow. And we remember her saying stuff to us. Oh, wow. And I used to think, oh my gosh, my brother was like typically like one of those high performing kids. I'm like, you went through the same thing? He's like, yeah. She said the same thing to me. And what she said to me is, why don't you understand like the rest?
Exactly.
Why don't you understand?
Just simple
and I'm thinking back
like
to
those.
The timing that I was in school, for that statement to have stuck in my mind. I was in what we call kinder in Australia, but Yeah, it was pre-unit.
Yeah.
So again, I'm 3 going on 4. And all I'm hearing is, why don't you? So then I'm asking myself that question.
Yeah.
As a 3-year-old, what do I know? So I'm just like, I must just not be good.
Yeah.
Do you know, Irene, I didn't find out I was good at math until I got to uni. And I had to take an economics unit. It was part of the course that I was doing. And I was like, oh man, here we go. So I've gone through all of high school, not really trying. I'm just convinced I'm not good at math.
Yeah.
So this economics unit, and we had an Israeli professor. This was in Wollongong, Uni of Wollongong in New South Wales. And he comes in and he puts a spin on math in a way that, I was like, where has this man been my whole life? Loved it, aced it. And I was like, can I take another economics unit? Exactly. I probably would have studied economics, but I was like, hey, no. Now when they start talking about, what's that thing? Is it statistics? I was like, okay, well, no, that's too much. But I really enjoyed it. And I'm like, imagine if I had someone that taught me the same way this man taught. It was so much fun. Exactly. He made it so, mind you, he was a very strict teacher, but there was just a way that he taught that I just latched onto. And I was thinking to myself, if I had him way back there then, I don't know, Irene, I'm just saying maybe I would have been an astronaut. I don't know. We don't know. I just
don't know the potential.
But, you know, I mean, like on a serious note though, like this man just put a spin on it. But I went my whole life until I was probably, 20, in uni, thinking, I'm not good at math.
Yeah.
Like, and you hear people saying, me numbers, But maybe it's just a product of like, how were you taught? Because we all learn differently.
Yeah. And simple statements like, this is so easy, you can get it. When a teacher tells you, this is so easy, you can get it, and you're not getting it. Do you know that's so demotivating?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And a child like that, like the smart child, the gifted child, would say things like, oh, that's so easy. And, I get it, I got it, that's so easy. And the teacher will be like, yeah, it's easy. And I can tell my daughter hasn't gotten it.
Your daughter's probably thinking to herself, why am I not getting this?
And maybe she was thinking like you were thinking when you were a child.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I'm
not good at this, and it's probably best. And that's the other thing I noticed is I became quieter.
Yeah.
Like I'm a fairly talkative person, so I would be talkative at home, but in class I learned to just, because there'd be the shaming that came along with.
Yes.
And
our ears is when we used to get numbers.
It's probably
you're number
better.
1, you're number...
Yeah. By the way, when you're given that ranking, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm number 14 out of 16. Oh my, what, Yeah. All right. So Irene, we're going to actually have to put a little cap on it right there. Because this is so good. I think we were going to go into, I thought we would do it. I don't know why I told myself that we were doing the one episode, but we're actually going to have a second episode, only because it's important for everybody to understand what led you to this decision, and for us to go a little bit more in depth into what homeschooling is all about and how you're doing it and how you're currently, taken over your children's learning. But I think it's important because there's probably a few parents that are going through that right now. And funny enough, I'm kind of in the throes. Like I said, my daughter's getting ready to go into school. My husband and I have had discussions around to homeschool or not to homeschool. And that spark in the eyes that you're talking about, I see that every day. Yeah. And I think I have been homeschooling without knowing that I've been homeschooling. I've just been downloading sheets off the internet and getting her to color, getting her to do this. Whenever we're making chapati, I'm like, hey, come here, we're going to cook. I'm getting her to help me with cooking. I'm helping her to help with cracking eggs and stuff like that. And these are useful life skills. No one stops to think about, maybe when we were doing it, it was a homeschool. That's all part of learning. It's life, right? So it's important for, I think, everyone to understand how Irene arrived at that decision of like, we're going to go homeschooling, because you guys are probably going through it. You're probably noticing that your kids are withdrawn. You're probably noticing that they're being bullied. And, you probably are thinking to yourself, I don't know if I have what it takes to be able to homeschool. So we're going to cover that on a second episode. But I just want you to have it in your mind that Irene is not a trained teacher. Oh, no. She is a mommy who is running a charity alongside her husband. She happens to be a graphic designer, and she just wanted to spend more time with her kids and wanted to take control of her kids' learning. So Irene, I'm so grateful to you being here this first episode, sharing a little bit about your story. But mind you, that's just one kid we've covered. We only covered your first child. I want to even understand how it started becoming a bit more complicated, when your second kid needs to go to school, your third kid needs to go to school, especially knowing that the gaps were just 2 years in between. So we're going to cover that and a lot more during the next episode. But Irene, I'm so happy that you were here because we haven't got a chance to kick it like this since. I mean, I think we spent a lot more time together when we were single
without children.
Yeah, I was gonna say single, not married, didn't have any kids when we were in Australia. And I think this is the first time, but the first time you came to visit me back home, when we first met here. We haven't spent this much time.
No, we haven't.
Together.
No.
And I'm so glad that we got to do it in front of cameras. Mind you guys, Irene was so nervous before this, but she has done. Can we give up my coffee? So until next time, thank you so much for joining us. And I just want to remind you, hey, mom, dad, you're doing a great job. See ya.
I already did it.
Oh, we did all this talking.
Yeah.
I don't like
spend your time out with
Awesome. So we can start?
Yep.
All right.
You want a countdown or you can?
You can give me a countdown.
Okay. So you're starting in 3, 2, 1.